Julie Gunlock of the Independent Women's Forum. She brings along the independent women with her, not in the mothership. You're right. I apologize. I'm so used to seeing Julie there in studio, but today Julie joins us in spirit and over the telephone. Julie, how are you this
I'm doing well.
afternoon?
Thanks for having me.
My pleasure. All right. So let's talk about your piece at IWF. We talk a lot about the school lunch programs, but the nannying continues far beyond the lunch hour. You have a piece about banning bathroom breaks at school, Julie?
Yeah, a couple weeks ago I wrote about how one school district is banning swings on the playground because apparently they're silent killers. But then I read this article, and and at the time I thought there's no way that it can get crazier than that. But then I read this article in the Mirror. It's a British newspaper about how a school district there in Great Britain has banned bathroom breaks because they think it's a safety issue. They think letting kids go by themselves down to the bathroom, taking a pee and then going back to the classroom is just too risky. And so the kids have to go through quite a lot of steps in order to go to the bathroom, including bringing in a note from a doctor, which apparently says this child does indeed have a bladder, which occasionally does need to be emptied. And then, the children have to go on a 10-minute walk to the nurse's station to ask if they can go to the bathroom. So it's kind of insane. Again, this is for safety's sake, again, this is in Great Britain. It's not an American school, but still, a lot of times we see these things kind of jump across the pond, either over to Britain or over here to the U.S.
Well, of course, absolutely. Look, if it's a good idea for those British kids, it's going to be a great idea for the American kids too. And as you say, this completely leaves out what kids actually go through. I can actually recall when I was in elementary school, a teacher who had that same policy. Now, this was just a classroom policy of, I think, no bathroom breaks. It was a music teacher. And, there were some days, Julie, where I was singing with some crossed legs and really, really hoping that music class would end so that I could go to the bathroom because it was right after lunch. Why, this is supposedly for the kids' health and safety, but that a year from now or 2 years from now, there's going to be another rule put in place rescinding this current rule for the mental well-being of these kids, some of whom will have wet themselves, in front of their classmates who will be teased and tormented because of the stupid rule put in place by adults.
I actually wrote in the piece, I said, what is the greater danger to kids, right? The potential to, have some sort of dangerous thing befall them on the way to the bathroom or something happen in the bathroom, or to, actually have an accident right in front of their students or in front of the other students. The other thing is, I think most most parents know about this. Kids wait until the last minute. Most of my boys sprint to the bathroom, okay, because they're playing something, they're doing something, and it is an absolute tragedy that they have to stop for 5 seconds to run to the bathroom. So they wait until the absolute last minute. So I am sure that these classrooms in this school district are going to see some unfortunate accidents, and yes, it is only then the policy will probably be reversed.
All right. Meanwhile, by the way, I'm sorry. Your column about toxic tampons. You're gonna have to promote that somewhere else,
I
Julie.
don't blame you.
Right.
I don't blame you. Yeah, I was into the body fluids this week.
Apparently so. I just there are some issues I can opine on. There are other issues I'm just a blank slate.
I totally get it.
But
I did also write another one, so we can jump to that one as well if you'd rather.
Well, I wanted to ask you if you had seen this piece. I saw it earlier today at The Atlantic, and it was from a woman actually in Lincoln, Nebraska, who's with the wellness department of the local school district, sent a reporter pictures, actually took pictures of the fruit and veggies that were available at the school there and say, see, look, it's not all horrible stuff. And so there's this really, I thought, lame attempt to say, all right, there's at least one school district out there where these new rules are working. But as you read this story, Julie, you find out, no, kids are still throwing away their salads. A lot of kids are not eating the vegetarian options. Maybe on a good day, like if it's cheese pizza, 1 in 4 of the students will eat the vegetarian meal. why is there this incredible inability to acknowledge what's actually happening in our lunchrooms around the
because
country?
look, people are so wedded to this. I actually discovered in my own neighborhood there's a group of moms who have started a club that is dedicated to ensuring that the schools have healthy meals, and these are all sort of well-to-do, mostly stay-at-home moms that are part of this group, right? And like I say, they probably have the finances to pack their kids a lunch, and yet they're getting behind this idea of improving the lunch at schools instead of encouraging their fellow moms and dads to pack their children a lunch. Look, people have got to get it. Have got to finally come to terms with the fact that this program will never work. It is bloated. It's mismanaged. It's over. It's got tons of accusations of fraud. GAO has investigated it. There have been indictments because of fraud with the school lunch program. This is a terribly run program, and again, it is being used, overused, and abused by people who are able to afford to pack their children or make their children a simple meal. It is no longer a program just for needy children. And so people need to understand this is just yet another Washington entitlement program that needs to be scaled back. It probably won't be, but this whole fantasy we have about, bringing, whole grains and organic and Joe Salatin's chickens to school lunches is a fantasy. It's not going to happen. And the only way we can really improve the way kids eat in this country is to encourage parents to take a greater role and do what they're supposed to do, is feed their children and get out of this system that, again, is impervious to reforms.
All right. Two more quick stories for you. First one, in Aspen, Colorado, I don't know if you saw this a few days ago. There are some parents in Aspen who are upset after elementary school administrators have placed a noise limit in the cafeteria. Students apparently at Aspen Elementary School have been told that loud talking and noises are prohibited. What would you do, Julie, if you thought that the kids were getting a little too loud and rambunctious there at lunch?
Well, I think it is so fortunate that you brought this up, because today I was at my child's school. I was helping out with a school project, and then it just happened to be that lunch, my child's lunch period was right after that. So I went into the cafeteria, and I got to tell you, my whole head was ringing after lunch today. I mean, you get that many, young kids in one room. And boy, it is loud. Now, I don't think, there's no such ban at my child's school, and I'm glad there isn't, because the kids are in a classroom and they sit there and they're supposed to be dutiful and do what the teacher asks them to do, and they get to lunch and they're finally around their friends and they're finally allowed to talk, because they're not allowed to talk in class and talk out of turn in class, and so. It's a way for them to release that energy. They really need that. And right after lunch, they go to recess so they can do that more. But boy, it's really pretty loud in there. And so I hope that they allow the kids some release, some ability to kind of let go and have fun and laugh with their friends. These kinds of noise restrictions, it's just more classroom work for them. And I think we need to build in times for children to be kids even at school.
Yeah, I do too. Now in Aspen, they're apparently blowing a really loud whistle when the kids get too loud, which I think kind of negates the purpose of quiet time.
Exactly.
But whatever. Now the other story I wanted to get your thoughts on: Rochester, Minnesota. There's a guy apparently in Rochester. He's a concealed carry holder. He walks his daughters to and from school.
Yes.
Okay. So what is your take on the woman who says, "Oh, this is awful. I have to change the community. I'm putting up a sign in my yard."
Yeah, it's a really tough situation, especially for the law enforcement there, because apparently I read this sort of update today that she has the right to do that, and he has the right. But honestly, I think that he should take legal action against her. I think this is utterly disgusting, and I think it puts his family at risk. What she has done here, identified him. These anti-gun nuts could go after him. I think it's and his children at school. So I think it's obviously this woman is sort of an activist searching for a cause and is desperate to make a name for herself. But I think it's terrible what happened to this man. And again, I think he should really, I think he should pursue legal. I'm not a lawyer. I don't know if he has any standing, but I think it's absolutely terrible what she has done.
I see this backfiring on her in a very big way.
Yeah, she's going to regret. I feel like she's going to.
I mean, like, I'm going to tell the world about this guy, but instead she's telling the world, I am a weirdo, right? I mean, like, that's the message I think that the neighborhood is getting here.
She is a bully. She is bullying this guy. She is terrifying this family. And, obviously this woman's never heard of the Second Amendment, but again, she's so uncivilized. And again, she's sort of, really using fear and threats and again, bullying, pretty uncivilized behavior from this woman. So, I agree. She's probably not so happy at this point with all the media attention, but I really hope this guy, gets the support that he needs, because this is probably, he never wanted this attention either. So.
No, absolutely not. And whatever happened to talking with somebody?
Yeah.
I mean, that's what I don't know. Whatever happened to talking with somebody? I mean, clearly you can't be really afraid of this guy if you're putting up a picture of him in your yard. You really don't think that he's going to snap and come after you.
Yeah, she's clearly a bully. I mean, this is a woman who likes to push people around and is sort of taking this. Again, not even speaking to him, not talking to him about her concerns, not trying to educate herself, for heaven's sake. This is a guy who's accompanying his two daughters to school. And the other thing is, whatever happened to minding your own business? I mean, this woman is just, not only a bully, she seems a bit nosy and probably a bit bored. So.
You're the second person who's used the word nosy or. Earlier today, we were talking with Heather Marchese from 1 Million Moms Against Gun Control. She referenced Gladys Kravitz.
Perfect.
From Bewitched. So there you go. Don't be a Gladys.
Don't be a Gladys Kravitz.
I think, we need that. That should be an IWF hashtag. Don't be a Gladys.
It's great. It's actually great for helicopter parenting. It's great for Bloombergian kind of, nosing around in people's personal decisions. I think it's great.
I do too. All right, Julie, unfortunately, we're almost out of time, but thank you so much for coming on the program. It's good talking with you again.
Always love it. Thanks so much.
Julie Gunlock joined us from the Independent Women's Forum.